Hi, so this is just gonna be kind of a rant, just because I feel absolutely fed up. Like, I feel fed up with how the American healthcare system is operating right now. And I try to be a very optimistic person. I think I'm a pretty optimistic person. But it just seems like with every step of the way, doctors and clinicians just cannot give care to patients the way that they think is best, and patients cannot get to the care that they need every step of the way. And it's so frustrating because every time we make a step forward, it seems like we're taking two steps back. Especially this weekend with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it just it's frustrating to see how doctors really can't do what they think is medically necessary for patients who deserve it. And when we think about the people who are going to be most affected by the overturning, by abortions being banned in some states, it's going to be the people who can't afford the travel because, people who can afford to go out of the state into another region and drive or take a plane ride to a state where abortion is legal, they can go ahead and do that. But the people who can't afford it, they're the ones stuck with all the bad health outcomes. Being pregnant is not the safest thing on the planet. Yeah, most people get out just fine, but it's dangerous. I just read somewhere 174 people out of 1 million people who get pregnant end up dying from the pregnancy. And that's not the same for every person. The risk is not the same for every person. People who cannot afford better care, who cannot afford better insurance, who cannot afford nutrition, people who cannot afford transportation to get places that they need to get to, people who can't work, people who are disabled, these are the people who are going to be affected by this the most. And it's so frustrating to see how we are losing care for those millions of people that apply these categories. But I know everyone's been talking about Roe v. Wade, so I'm not going to belabor the point. Those are my thoughts on it personally. I also just want to talk about how my experience has been with the healthcare system. For the most part, it's been fine in terms of delivery of care. Like, I've gotten decent care from the doctors and clinicians who have seen me. But my frustration with it is just, it's so fractured. Just, my doctors don't easily talk to my other doctors. My PCP, my primary care provider, cannot easily communicate with, for example, a cardiologist or dermatologist. Like, the network is just not there. The infrastructure is just not there. Insurance has been so difficult to work with. I talked about in a recent video how I got an oral surgery for a cyst that had to be removed. Not elective, not cosmetic, but yeah, expensive. And that deficit is sitting in my bank account like a tumor. And people should not have to, go bankrupt or just be so concerned about finances when they're just trying to take care of themselves. I got a Master of Public Health degree, hoping that I could help other people. But it just feels so difficult for even myself to be able to navigate this healthcare system. And that just doesn't make sense. Like, it shouldn't be this complicated. We need better ways for people to get the care that they need, for doctors to talk to each other, for doctors to do what is medically needed and necessary for their patients without so many hurdles and obstacles in the way. And yeah, so maybe I'm just upset today. Maybe the Roe v. Wade overturning is just a little recent and I'm upset about it, but right now I feel fed up and I want to do the best that I can in the future to improve the system, but I'm gonna really need some help, guys, because this is a little overwhelming. I hope everyone is getting the care they need. I know not everyone can, but if you need to talk to someone about the recent events in healthcare, if anything feels overwhelming, please seek out help. You're not alone. I am a second-year medical student hoping to finish school and become a doctor in less than 3 years now, and it's incredibly difficult for me to see how things are going right now, how things are unfolding. But I'm doing this because I want to help people. I'm doing this because I think it can get better. I just hope that enough people can agree with that and enough people can be optimistic that we can get something done. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So hopefully you guys will contact your senators, talk to your friends, talk to your families, tell them what you think is right. And hopefully we can get to a point where doctors can really take care of their patients again, because right now it's so difficult for that to happen, and it should be a lot simpler than that.